Welcome back to the Nikki Clarke Radio Show on wearehotline.net. And joining us today is an author of Standing Tall in the Echoes of Destiny, and she's also a community activist. Please welcome Elma Gabriel Mayers to the show. How are you doing today, Elma?
I am doing fine.
Fantastic.
I feel so blessed, for this opportunity.
Oh, it's wonderful having you on. You're quite, a powerful woman in the community. You've been doing so much to empower people, and we'd love to hear your story. So, if you can talk a little bit about your background leading up to being a community activist, that would be wonderful.
I am of a Caribbean heritage and have been involved in community initiatives since in my early teens in St. Vincent, the Grenadines,
Okay.
I do call myself a Caribbean person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now a retiree, retired from the bank, once bank manager, analyst in the bank here in Toronto. I am the co-founder of Celebrators Malvern, which started in 2002, and became a community advocating against the gun violence, basically with persons like Don Meredith, Basically, I advocate for social justice and other community issues against the less privileged.
Right. When did you start the community initiative against guns?
It was in 2003. If you would recall, I think that's when the gun violence started, and it really started in Malvern.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, I guess the work that was done in Malvern, it slows everything down. But unfortunately, it would seem as though it's again, uprising again in Ontario.
Yeah. So what's your take on that? So you're saying the gun presence was it kind of emerged 2003, and now it's so prevalent in the community. What's your opinion on that?
Well, I believe that when I see people write on Facebook and talk about the gun violence, I always say the problem is really not the gun violence. The question is, where are they getting the guns from?
Mm-hmm.
So I always believe that we have to start at the root of what the problem is.
Right.
You can only use a gun if you get a gun, and the question is where are they coming from? Right.
So the people are still trying to establish the root of the gun origin.
Yeah.
And do you know? Do you have any leads as to where they're coming from?
I wish I knew, But my point is that persons within the top positions have to have an idea, because the factories, it must be coming from the factory somewhere. So someone, they have to know something, because these guys who actually have the guns, they're a simple guys within our community and young guys, teenagers and everything like that. So I believe that that's where the focus has to be. And while we within the community try to really work with these young men and so on.
Right. Okay. And you're also involved in a more recent community event. We're rallying around now Haiti. We just received news that Hurricane Matthew has devastated parts of the island, and the death toll is rising. I think it's over 200 at this point. You're in collaboration with which organization to help support, provide some kind of relief?
I am on the board of an organization. We call it short form CCREMA, which means Caribbean Canadian Relief Education Medical Assistant. And basically, we do have a website. It can be found on www.ccrema.ca. Our focus is on supporting initiatives that brings us together as Caribbean people. talking about our common problems, successes, challenges, dreams, and aspirations, right?
Right.
It's about achieving great things for ourselves and for our younger generation. I think it's very critical that we focus on that, and basically just think about it. Everywhere organizations are coming together to form global movements, right?
Mm-hmm.
And nations are coming together to form trading partners for their common good. While we also have our Caribbean trade organization, CARICOM. You know about CARICOM, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I actually wrote a poem on CARICOM. I don't know if we have time for me to read it.
Yeah. Let's read it. Is this an excerpt from your book?
Yeah, from my book. It actually called CARICOM Torch Run, because I remember they had a meeting in Chaguaramas in Trinidad, and I followed the whole thing, and then I felt so touched as a Caribbean person. I wrote the poem. It says, they cried, they jumped, they cheered, and they laughed. Sometime it seemed the hope was lost, but on their knees they felt at ease. The Treaty of Chaguaramas will move with breeze. Let's carry the torch, for the time has come to unite in the name of CARICOM. So as we move from tongue to tongue, the Caribbean will be one territorial ground. Colonialism will remain with some, as the CARICOM torch runs from land to land. In silence, we'll jointly take our stand to support the chapter of our heroes planned. Together now, that is what it means, a single market in the Caribbean, the united symbol, a territorial dream. The Treaty of Chaguaramas is now for real. Let's cry, let's jump, let's cheer, and let's laugh, ha ha ha. Let's join in and celebrate an accomplished past. With strength to strength, we support our land and move forward with our mandated plan. I was so touched.
Yes, that's a moving piece. Thank you for sharing that. That's brilliant. And again, that is an excerpt from your book of poetry. It's called Standing Tall in the Echoes of Destiny. Now, where can people get a copy of the book?
Oh, they can get a copy of on Amazon, also Barnes and Nobles, and Chapters, Indigo.
Which Barnes and Nobles and which chapters?
That's in the States, because it was published in the States, so they can get it at any Barnes and Nobles. If it's not there, they can order it for them, and also at Chapters here. If it's not there, they can order it for them.
Okay. All right.
Amazon.
All right. So,
I'm not sure what it's sold for, but I think it's about $15.
Fantastic. And definitely, if people wanted to email you directly, maybe they could get a book signed and sent to them.
Yes. They can email me at elma.lgabriel@gmail.com. Mm-hmm. Or even at my private email, it's elma.gabriel@simpatico.ca.
Fantastic. And you know what, Elma, we are looking forward to having you on the Nikki Clarke Show live October 28th at the Paint Box Bistro from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock, and we just love your energy. So looking forward to that, having you on very, very soon. Now, Elma, you shared something with me that happened to you not too long ago, and I just think you're really an inspiration for the way you've recovered from such such a health attack. Would you be able to kind of share what happened and just how things are going?
Amazing. Yeah, what is amazing, Nikki, is that this occurred at Good Friday, last Good Friday after service. I went to my car and I felt as though it's like a hammer hit me twice in my head. And
wow.
I do not know, but I walked back to the church, but I cannot remember that. And what I remember is that I positioned myself like I was sitting on the church bench, and I said to the minister, I said, call the ambulance, and I positioned myself like if I wanted to stretch out, because that was the most comfortable for me. And I remember saying, God, I thank you for the time you have allotted me. But I ask you one favor. I left my house this morning. I did not say goodbye to my son. He was sleeping. Would you allow my son to say goodbye to me so he can move on with his life?
That's amazing.
And I heard someone says, you're going to breathe. And I kind of woke up and the thing is that I ended up at the Centenary, and it was too serious. They rushed me to St. Mike's. And
so you had an aneurysm? Was that it?
I had a brain aneurysm. Yeah.
A brain aneurysm.
Brain hemorrhage.
A brain hemorrhage right after church on Good Friday.
Good Friday.
Amazing.
And what happened? I remember the next thing that I heard two guys speaking, and I heard one said, how old you said this woman is? And the guy answered, and he said, what? He said, are you looking at a vital sign? She's going to live. And that's what I remember. Now, what I found out later is that I was answering every question, but what was happening, the memory to answer questions like I'm answering with you was fine, but to remember, all that was gone. So I was in intensive care for at least 7 days, And, I feel, this was just an Easter, and I feel that it's a journey that I've went on in order to become stronger and to understand people better and to understand what life is really about. So I really appreciate, it may sound, but I really appreciate the journey.
Yes, because it makes you embrace life even more. Everything becomes sweeter after you experience something like that, and you don't take life for granted. So I think that's like I said, it's a miracle what happened, and it's so amazing that you're here to share that with us. So thank you. So definitely a transformation happened from that. That episode in church, I imagine how scary it must have been for you and the people, observing what was going on.
What was amazing, I experienced after I said about give me the time, I actually felt a sense of peace.
You felt a sense of peace when you surrendered.
Peace. There was no fear, nothing.
Wow.
And the people who were around me, now I get better, they're saying the same thing, and because, I think it's being within yourself. It's like feeling contentment within yourself, and I talk a lot of that. I think I wrote on that too, about the importance of contentment. So that is why now my goal is that we get together to help Haiti. And the CC Rima, we do have a charitable number, and I'm looking forward for, the Caribbean people to use it so we can actually see what we can do to help our brothers and sisters.
Absolutely.
Now,
and you're working in conjunction with...
People may want to know who can join us. Who can join us, right? In this group, right? And I said all persons of Caribbean heritage, and also those who may not be of that ancestry, but whose children, spouse, or friends share in this heritage. If you just want to adopt into the large Caribbean identity, we'll welcome you.
Yes. Fantastic. And then how can people get in contact with you to volunteer their time or to donate? Okay,
it's, I'm going to give my number. You know what happened? We are all one big family in this world. So it's 416-282-4557. That's my number.
Okay, fabulous.
Or they can also send an email to Rima, to the CC Rima. It's info@ccrima.ca.
Okay, fabulous. Elma, we're running out of time, but I just wanted to thank you again for sharing the great work that you're doing, and we really applaud you, and we just, Godspeed to your recovery process. I know it takes a little bit of time, but it was amazing the miracle that occurred, and then you have bounced back. And we look forward to seeing you live October 28th. And we hope that you can bring, if you have any copies of your poetry book, that we can share it with the audience.
Okay. Thank you very much for having me, and it's a pleasure. Okay.
Thank you so much, Elma. All the best, and see you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.